Northern Virginia, Barbara Comstock is fighting hard for re-election against her Democratic challenger, Jennifer Wexton. She is here with us now in studio to talk about that and the focus of her campaign, the newest focus, protecting women from sexual harassment. Great to have you here this morning. Thank you for your time.
Good to be with you.
So let's start with this new legislation that you have really advocated for, and that is keeping sexual harassment at the forefront in Congress and making it anti-sexual harassment, as well as prohibiting relationships between lawmakers and staffers.
Right, and really over the last year, we really had a watershed moment where we have, first of all, wanted to give voice to, as we heard all of these stories, in all different professions, we wanted to make sure that women in every profession, in blue-collar professions, not necessarily just celebrities,
right,
but everybody. So we, provided, new legislation that we've passed, that the House passed, that we still need to get finalized here, but it provides victims advocate. We wanted to level the playing field and make sure that women had a place to go that was confidential, that was secure, but put them on a level playing field. And then creating a zero tolerance culture. We now have education and training. That's already in place. My legislation for education and training is required that every staff member and member of Congress and intern all take this training, so they're aware of it, they're aware of where to go when they have an issue. And then we have no taxpayer funding and more accountability in the process, and no more secret settlements.
Right.
Although we want to make sure that the women are protected, they are not required to come forward and have this public if they don't want to.
Absolutely. So I do want to talk about that and kind of Brett Kavanaugh and the situation he's in, especially with Dr. Christine Blasey Ford giving her testimony at the hearing the other day. Your thoughts on that, your thoughts on the FBI investigation that Democrats are saying was not thorough or expansive enough. Where do you stand with that?
Well, first of all, Dr. Ford had said she didn't want this to become public. And somebody, a staffer, it appears a staffer or even a Democratic member, I think it probably was a man, because I don't think a woman would have done this to another woman.
But it was
put
leaked.
That out. It was leaked and put it out. And so we had a process that ill-served everybody. It ill-served both Dr. Ford and Judge Kavanaugh, as well as the American public. And now you're seeing threats against senators, threats against both Judge Kavanaugh and Dr. Ford. It never should have come to this. And that's why in the ad that we're talking about today and the process we're talking about, we wanted to make sure we bring it back to this watershed moment that we've had. It was bipartisan. Democrats and Republicans, men and women, all came together on this legislation because we all realize this is a real problem in the workforce. We need to root it out. We need to have zero tolerance. We need to have practices in place for prevention, and so that women can come forward in real time. And so whatever is going, I mean, we've had Supreme Court politics for a long time, since Judge Bork, but we wanted to make sure now that people still understand that this issue is important. We put more money behind it with the EEOC to track down anybody. We've recently had action we're taking with FEMA in my own district, where we had a sexual harasser in FEMA that has been removed, but now we are dealing with the aftermath and the investigations that are going on. So we want to make sure everybody in every workplace knows that they can come forward, they have a place to go, and it doesn't have to be one of these things that everyone pays, the press pays attention to, more of the celebrity cases, but every day women and some men are impacted by this, and we need to make sure they know about the processes in place, and we are committed to doing that. So this is something that has bipartisan, and the agreement, when we did the legislation, there was no difference between what I wanted to do and what Jackie Spear, a Democrat from California, and Bradley Byrne, who is a very conservative Republican from Alabama, and our chairman from Mississippi, Greg Harper.
All on the same page. I do want to get to briefly, before we run out of time, several polls have showed recently that you're trailing your Democratic challenger, State Senator Jennifer Wexton, by 7 points in one poll, 6 points in another. What would you tell your constituents, as this midterm election comes up? What do you want them to know?
Well, we've been focused on results, things like getting real results on issues like sexual harassment, but also on their tax cuts, putting more money in their pockets, a $2,000 child tax credit, so every family has that money to keep for their kids. We've just gotten good results on the pay raise for federal employees. We've also rebuilt our military, that is so important. So I have focused very much on results, and I think my opponent has been just resistance and doesn't have an agenda. We've delivered on metro funding every year. We've been working to save the Dulles Airport and get more funding and help there and transportation money. So I've been very much focused on the district and delivering results for my constituents, which means more jobs, 4.2% economic growth. We are having a booming economy, which provides more opportunities. That's why we want to make sure there's no sexual harassment in the workplace, because it's never been such a great workplace where we want to see women advance. African American unemployment, Latino unemployment is low. We're doing a lot on workforce development to make sure that everybody is rising to where their talent can get them and get more money in their pockets and more success, because there's not, in this booming economy, when we don't we have more jobs than we have people for them. So we want to advance people and get them, and it's an exciting time, and we can't turn back now when we great economy. We cannot go back to the high taxes and the regulation that was crushing our economy. This 4.2% growth, we need to keep it going.
All right. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank
we appreciate
you.
it. I want to let you know that we have contacted Senator Jennifer Wexton to join us here on Good Morning Washington to talk about her initiatives for Virginia as well. She is running against Barbara Comstock in the 10th District, but we have not yet confirmed a date for her to appear on the show, but we hope to